Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Valorant Challengers North America. We got to see our first match of the day, a 2-0 victory in way of YFP. Now, to be moving along into our semi-finals here, it's going to be Nightblood going up against Winthrop. We had to wait for the first match to be done, but we're ready to dive back into this and take a little updated look at the bracket as well. I mean, we're going through this fast, or that definitely is for sure. Nightblood as well in their first game, managing to get a quick victory into the finals. I'm still waiting for one of the results there, Rankers and Blue Otter.
Yeah, obviously with SAD Esports having some mild changes, the core of that team that sort of made them pretty scary in stage 2 are still present. So seeing Nightblood overcome them in relatively comfortable fashion is pretty impressive. And I think if people haven't been watching challenges this year, they probably see Winthrop University and go, okay, like what should we sort of expect from this game? This team served up a fat 2-0 to TSM when they played earlier in the group stages. So you should expect a lot from this team. FunHav has pushed them to the very limit. So we're seeing a number of teams come out of the woodwork here and look a lot stronger than we kind of expected.
And I think that's the fun of this too, Wyatt, when we're looking at these teams. Because, of course, there is teams that are familiar. There's some players that are familiar and team names that we don't quite know. But being able to see the work that people have been putting into this offseason and how things are kind of getting switched up here, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's so many teams that have the cores stuck together and then attempt to improve by making just a couple changes here and there. And Winthrop, they are one of those teams. They still have a core 3 that was playing throughout stage 2. I mean, it's the same for TSM. It's the same for YFP. It's the same for SAD. Like, a ton of these teams have the familiar cores, but then trying to improve upon that with some new players. And so far, so good for Winthrop. They've been on the upswing.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and take a look at our first roster as we talk a little bit more about the series. We're talking about, familiar players, familiar cores, and Winthrop definitely that. It was a 2-1 victory over FunHavers, and a match at a point, Uber, we thought that we would be talking about FunHavers here for half a second, but Winthrop, they're able to make that comeback. They're able to push along into this upper bracket, and strong performances across the board.
Yeah, I mean, this is the team that, again, they end stage 2 of challenges. They actually are like at risk of being relegated. It's actually pretty squeaky for them to make it out of that tournament. And yeah, they actually end up losing it. So, this is a team where like you really wonder what like we should expect to see from Winthrop next year, right? Stage 3 has an open qualifier. It's really important to understand that while this is challenges, this isn't like the circuit that we've had over the rest of the year. So in theory, that's how Winthrop are able to be here. We were really impressed with Infiltrator, who came into the roster. We saw him on a couple of different maps have to stand up as a solo duelist and really took it to some of the very best duelists in challenges. And we also have known this team to have a couple of different looks on some maps. They kind of like to mix in a lot of wacky comps. They're known to go for the Rainer and they mix the ISO in on a few maps here, but Infiltrator is my player to watch here. Mechanically, really gifted. Most of what I've seen from Infiltrator is Ray's play, so I want to see how his skill set translates here to the Neon.
Yeah, when we look at how Winthrop was playing through that series, the first game being a loss, Sunset's a little rough, but then Infiltrator being able to pop off and turn it around in maps 2, number 3, I think a really big key for the team here. So, and this is someone too that when we are looking back at Winthrop University and what we do know about the team, this is someone who we have talked about a lot. So that'll be certainly exciting. And for Winthrop too, even though they were a team that during the Challenger season, this was rough, when we're looking at the qualifications for stage 3, I mean, they were doing really strong. We're looking back at, in the group stage, a 2-0 victory over TSM. We're looking at these strong wins. So, Wyatt, this work that they've been putting in, this is an opportunity to show that off for real.
Yeah, definitely. This year started pretty rough for them. They have made roster changes throughout the year as time has gone on, but have retained that core now for a decent amount of time, and it has really just been pretty much a slow at times, but pretty much just going straight in upwards in the right trajectory, improving day after day. They're definitely a team that has been grinding pretty hard. They've been around for a long while, and on their roster, they have 4 players that are pretty well experienced in tier 2. The only player that doesn't have a ton of experience is Flair, who's someone that is just mostly competed in collegiate tournaments exclusively, and this is a step up and definitely a higher level of play for them to be competing in, and so far, so good.
This team,
100%.
very quickly, like, I just want to get everyone excited. Moobs play some of the weirdest stuff ever. Like, they're like a Cypher player, but they also play Reyna and Yoru, and they literally play Chamber on Pearl. So they're pretty out there. For a team that has failed to qualify for Challengers sort of next season, like they got relegated, these guys still leaving it out there.
I like that you get to put that little seedling out there well before the agent select, in case we do get to see some wacky, wild stuff coming out from the squad. But time to talk about who they're going up against in this series, Nightblood Gaming. Nightblood, this was a strong victory that they had over SAD Esports. Be moving on pretty quickly, and when we talk about these teams whose names you know, the players you know, at first glance you go across here and you might not be too familiar, but then Wyatt, when you kind of think a second, it's like, oh, wait, like there actually is players that have been around, even dating way back.
Yes, we do have the winner of the 2020 Pulse Invitational in the server in Hwin with Gen G of old. Like, actually an ancient player that, like, a lot of new viewers will not know, but a fun throwback to have in this server. Did not know this dude was competing, so pretty cool to see him back. And Fireball Ops has been playing for a while around like tier 2, tier 3, and seems to be kind of breaking out, coming into his own right now. And the other 3, genuinely no idea. They've never watched them play, so will be cool to see just how good they are, because I do not know.
It's your time to get familiar, all right? I mean, even looking back at their last couple of series, I mean, someone that you mentioned that has been working throughout this scene has been Fireball Ops, and the last series that they played, we talk about that strong victory, and Fireball Ops was having a fantastic performance, known Sentinel player, and being able to show that like back-to-back maps. This was first off the Deadlock, then moving along into the KJ, and Uber, if he's going to be performing in this next series like he did in the first one, it's going to be a little difficult for Winthrop to break through.
I think so. I mean, this is also a team that like has some kind of wild comps on a few different maps here. They are a Deadlock Ascent team, but they're a Yoru Deadlock Ascent team, which makes it even more interesting. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Again, we're coming with like pretty limited expectations of this team. We look at scores. We know that Fireball Ops has had a great couple of games, which is awesome. So, you know, again, essentially out of nowhere, what a mix of old and new. Like the fact that we're invoking the name of Hwin, it's like you have to be around when the Deep Magic was written to sort of remember that. But yeah, this guy is someone I'm looking out for. This is the kind of team that plays like Killjoy and Pearl, pretty standard stuff here. Their buy-in comp is really out here. So I want to see what like our picks and bans look like, because I think if we get a bind, you know, in the first or second map, you know, one we're guaranteed to see, it could be quite interesting.
Well, we're in the business of making wishes come true around here, so we'll give you those map picks and bans, okay? So we can figure out in this series where they're going, if we are going to see something a little weird, a little wild out there. Because looking at the map pools of each really kind of could go anywhere for this. And okay, we're kicking it off on Abyss.
Okay, I mean, that is fine. I mean, Winthrop have played a fair bit of Abyss, and the interesting thing about their comp is that they played the standard like Ascent comp. Instead, they get rid of the KO and they play Gecko instead. So a little bit of a variation. We don't see a lot of teams going for that. Obviously, like it gives you a lot of options. Like you can still flash. You still have like a molly that you can throw to backside if you're trying to hit B, for example. The Thrash is obviously a fun addition. You just don't have the same potential for fast hits behind Null Command. So Ascent, again, I'm glad we get this. We get to see the Aura Deadlock comp play out. I'm pretty sure we've seen Winthrop play double duelist on Ascent, like an ISO Jet, which is kind of crazy. And I think if I look at my notes, which I'm obviously got in front of me, they've also played Reyna there before. So I don't really know what to expect from that map. This is Winthrop just doing Winthrop.
Yeah, I remember when ISO originally got buffed, they just like hard forced ISO on everything, and that was when Neon got buffed. They were just sending it on those agents, like immediately. We're just going hard on those. So I don't know if that will continue, but we'll see. I'm a fan of ISO, and I actually think ISO is good on Ascent, so I'm down to see it. if they want to bring out the rare pick.
I'm down for a fun ISO pick. Cracked ISO players are so obnoxious to play up against, and it's such fun Valorant to watch. But I'm curious about this very first map pick, because when we're talking about a Nightblood Gaming that in their series was able to go off and have a great start, Abyss is definitely a little bit of a spoiler in that, considering the last time that the site records them being on Abyss, it was kind of a rough go of it, Uber. A little 13-0 against them.
Yeah, straight up, I don't even look back that far. Like, as far as I'm concerned, this is not an Abyss team.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Okay, it's not okay. That's not that far back then. That's fine. That's I mean,
yeah, that's tough.
I wouldn't say that's like the most exciting prospect. I think that's pretty sussy. Out of curiosity, are they playing the standard comp? That is sent comp?
No, they play
How standard
Vice.
do you consider Yoru Vice?
They play Vice, which is actually from the rumblings that I've heard, Vice is incredibly common in NA right now, in the NA scrim scene right now. Like listen, could be lies, could be falsehoods, but I've heard that basically at this point the majority of the teams are playing it on the map. So it still feels new and different for the viewers because there haven't really been a lot of tournaments to see it outside of like EG. We're playing it in the Sen Invitational, but yeah, it seems to be catching on more and more. So we'll probably be seeing a lot of it, unless it just completely flops and people are misreading the meta of the map. But at least for right now, people like it.
I think we were like expecting out in Berlin, we were expecting to see a Game Changers. And the one team that we knew had like dabbled with it before opted not to play it at that tournament.
Yeah,
so
Shopify.
We never ended up. Yeah, exactly. So we never actually ended up seeing it there. They'd like tinkered with it a little bit. So if we get to see it, we'll talk a little bit about some of Vice's kit and how it applies to parts of Abyss, because there's a good use case for it, but teams are still getting
I will right now be Googling Vice Valorant ability names.
Quiet. It's Razorvine,
Sheer,
Arc Rose,
equip
Steel Garden,
filaments of liquid metal,
you can
fire
also wait
to place
to see
a wall
if you're
trap.
going to see it first, because if you're getting 013 when you have the Vice,
Hey,
and
I'm just prepping.
I
remember
you just gotta
Arc
make
Rose.
sure the live prep.
Yeah. Yes, the
Look at him
Steel
pulling
Garden.
back the curtain. it's not as if people don't know that we have VLR like up here, just like everyone else at home does, especially for some of these teams that we have a little bit less information on. So also, we also didn't know if we'd be casting Winthrop or Fun Havers here. So, we have about as much prep as you guys have. But I'm excited for the Vice. I think that I honestly, I'm actually more excited to see like how the Gecko goes in the standard comp on this map. You know what I mean? That for me, let me do a Wyatt thing. That for me is interesting.
I think the Gecko is honestly all right. I think the Wingman gets really good value on the map for some of the easy plants that you can play spam off of, because we're playing the game of Valorant, which means there's going to be a giant choke point that you can put a dark cover on and then spam the spike. And Wingman is pretty good at getting the spike down in those positions.
Kind of good. But hey, we got an agent select ahead of us to see for sure if Wyatt has to have the cheat sheet up in front of him for the first map in our series. So
I can't wait to equip some filaments.
We've got it. We've got it. The liquid metal filaments will be attached to the walls. Let's go. Finally, I was getting so ready to cast Vice at the GCC when we were in Berlin, and then it wasn't picked. And so now I'm glad I have that knowledge stored up here for Fireball Ops playing it.
Oh man, we're gonna jump into just a moment. Wyatt, turn down your noise gate on your voice activation, son, so I can hear 100% of what you say instead of 30%. That would be a Gucci. We're moments away from jumping in here. We've got the Astra, which we have seen a couple of teams pick up. Pretty sure like Flight Quest Red like to sort of bring this in as well. So again, definitely a lot of post plant applications. Can be really annoying to play against. Again in the post plant.
All right, well, last time they saw Nightblood over on this map. It was a little bit of a rough one. An opportunity to rewrite that story. First map going up against Winthrop. Have fun, guys.
Thank you very much. We will indeed. Yeah, a lot of grinding for Nightblood lately. They've definitely got a lot of games in their match history. And they've been looking pretty good so far heading into a match like this. Again, this is a semi-final, so you again can already guarantee yourself a pretty high placing here in stage 3 with success on this map. We're going to waste no time and jump on in. It's going to be Nightblood Gaming on defense, and here comes Winthrop again with that little gecko variation, already getting some value off the Dizzy.
But it's a really deep push actually from Nightblood that completely goes awry unless Win can trade out a couple, but yeah, only able to get the one. And immediately you see the value of the early Dizzy that you can use on this map. It just gets that info on if a mid push is coming, and it got the info, and a mid push did come, and it got shut down. So there's some of the easy gecko value that you can extract on attack.
All right, well, Nightblood here have to just try and manufacture something. There's a bit of that util thrown down. We've got both trips thrown down, and work with me, a Razor Vine.
Ah, yes. Wait,
yeah,
which one is that? Oh, it's between the trips.
It's a nest of liquid metal, as opposed to a filament. There you go. It gets thrown out here, but still, Wingman's able to get across towards the site here. This will slow things down for Winthrop here. Nightblood have been able to at least buy a bit of time, but they're in the best spots they could be in a situation like this.
Yeah, one trip to deal with, but that shouldn't be an issue. There was an opportunity for Sogo, but has to retreat. At least that smoke does fade up top, so Fireball Ops can help.
Moves are already pushed up here on Container, but the Fireball Ops is able to get a drop on them. Now 1v3 though with the Sheriff. You're asking for a lot here. It's going to be Infiltrator getting 3 kills on the round. Someone we already wanted to highlight at the start of the game here. And it's an ill-fated mid-push that puts Nightblood in a tough spot to take the round.
Yeah, pretty simple. Don't need to say much more than that about it, really. But it was...
Casters, but...
do we? But hey, it was a cool display though to immediately see what teams are trying to do with the Gecko on this map and some of the little things that are helpful with having his kit. So I'm glad we got to see a little bit of that straight away. And now Winthrop are just gathered up to head towards this B site as a unit. Tripwires covering their back. A few players to contend with, but should be relatively easy to do so.
Alum, of course, with the gate crashing in play. They can get set up over on Rafter if they need to. Wynn's going to push across the site straight away. It comes the Dizzy in. It's a trade. Move's going to go down to the Shorty. Still no plant just yet, but the spike's been left out in the open. Kess is able to find 2 off that Sheriff play. Infiltrator here has the Tailwind available. Make it untradeable. A key kill, but still no spike to hand. Kess just walks out apparently into the line of sight. Maybe lacking current information.
Yeah,
maybe they didn't see the spike there.
They tried to sync that up with an Arc Rose from Fireball Ops, but it did not connect on to them. But a valiant effort. Infiltrator is already going kind of crazy. The player that has definitely caught the attention of some tier 1 teams, some America's teams. There has been talk. He's definitely definitely making a name for himself in the Challengers scene, and I think is certainly poised to have maybe a breakout year in terms of getting more people in the wider scene to know them, especially if Winthrop are going to be a quality team that's going to be contending, at least like in that mid-upper table in 2025.
I hope they're in Challengers at all, right?
I mean, again, looks like they'll be good enough. Okay, let's
they
walk
lose the
forward.
promo relegation for stage 2, right? Does that mean they play next? Do they play next year in Challengers? Stage 1?
That's a question for another time.
You know what? Yeah, let's just,
we'll revisit that one later.
TBD. Here comes Infiltrator here. Triple stack up on this angle. Rather double, excuse me. Alum looking elsewhere. Tailwind gets him out with just 10 HP. And Infiltrator's asking for more. They actually get across and... All right. Cloudburst gets thrown down. Infiltrator is very, very deep, albeit a little bit low here. You see that sheer wall set up in advance by Fireball Ops, just in case they try to cross it. How has he done this, Wyatt? Infiltrator gets into the cookie jar.
That was a pretty
takes down Kess.
Sick reaction time on that with just 10 HP. Insta delete with the headshot. Dark Cover's getting cycled though over towards A main. Infiltrator's going to have to make a lot of noise and really draw attention here.
Oh my goodness! 2 kills with 10 HP. That's Infiltrator for you, but elsewhere things are going pretty bad for Winthrop. Down to Flare. Full 9er Flare, I'm going to go with. Wingman gets across. Going to be a crossfire that Flare has to find a way to navigate without Dizzy. And it's a tough job.
the vice in that situation trying to get into A is where the agents certainly can thrive. I mean, that sheer wall just perfectly cuts off any player coming through A main, as well as the Razorvine just covers that entire area to fully disrupt the hit or cut off the duelist from the rest of the pack, etc. Standard defense, I have a molly type gameplay, but on A with that narrow choke point, it's just pretty exploitable. And again, you're seeing that similar setup from Fireball Ops over on that side of the map.
I mean, that wall lasts for 8 seconds, so it is pretty annoying. Flare, though, is just going to get a freebie. Alum tries to push up and find something. As Nightclub are hoping to springboard off the momentum of the previous round. Here comes Infiltrator. That is Razorvine that's going to snarl up the jet. Sogo's going to be easily able to capitalize on that. And again, Wingman will have the spike knocked loose. Winthrop, they're a long walk away from it, and Moops might be called upon here to be a difference maker.
Might be able to catch Fireball Ops, but loses out on that duel. That should just be the round over at this point.
Yeah, enough Winthrop here fully committing to coast, but Kess is a turret and brings 3 of them down to even up the game.
And the Wingman can be pretty good for running up and planting on default there, but less so when the rest of the team isn't able to scale into the site properly. Cool little position for that Razorvine as well to deny the typical dash updraft that a Jet's going to do when you're hitting that B site. Just set up Sogo for a really easy kill. That was pretty cool. And the rest of Winthrop, though, during that moment, they really did need to capitalize on and try to take more space. Unable to do so, and then it's all on moves, and it all falls apart, as does the bank. They've got one hero rifle.
They're trying to play this like bind, like get the Wingman in, but if they stop the plant, then Winthrop are in a really awkward position. With the spike dropped inside B, they actually don't have the option to rotate out of there at all. Infiltrator pings as they try and cross here. Alum controlling this space, but it's a little bit of a shaky shot. An opportunity to claim Infiltrator, who only has a Vandal to hand. Big pings for Cash. A lot of information here for NBG. It feels like a matter of time as Winthrop just want to take a fight in mid. Jerk's able to get there with the Marshal of all weapons, but now in a 1 versus 3, it should be short-lived.
Could win this duel against Alum just because that is a low HP Yoru, and will at this point wisely back off after just re-peaking 27 times with that operator. Things are a little bit scrappy. Winthrop can at least deal a fair bit of economic damage.
Yeah, Jerk will try and get something for this round. This is probably not as much economic damage as Winthrop were hoping for.
30
but
seconds left.
they all stepped into mid, to be fair, with Sheriffs and wanted to take fights. You can always just jump off the map. It's always an option. Getting 2 guns for your troubles doesn't seem terrible. And we go. These extremities, as you can see, being held down by NBG. There's no way that Jerk really gets out of mid here. But they actually opt to
10 seconds left.
allow Jerk to pick up a Vandal. There's no way to sort of prevent that, I guess, without offering up more risk. And so that'll be the round. Jerk gets out with a rifle.
Yeah, not really a big deal. He's going to get one next round anyway. So it really doesn't matter. Just, yeah, we'll play it safe. We'll stay alive, retain our weapons, and head into the next one. We'll see if Alum can try to get some more value with the operator. So far, definitely taking note of the fact that that man is playing real aggro. When he had a rifle multiple rounds in a row, he simply walked at Winthrop. And now with the op is just re-swinging the same angle over and over. So he is definitely got a penchant for aggression. That is what I'm learning about watching this man for the first time.
Okay, so there's only one Razorvine set up here. There's got so much here. Sentinel util, obviously, for NBG with this comp. Razorvine's got to be manually activated, and much like the Danis Norms, can be destroyed in advance. So this goes to Aldrone.
This setup is such a pain. That Razorvine as well is just good for denying the wingman running up.
Yeah, absolutely. What? Am I seeing correctly? That is just a straight shot there from Alum with the operator. Okay, we're gonna move along. Cass here sitting back and a pretty decent position to pepper down Winthrop as they try and get this plant down, but they will in the end. Full roster still remaining though for NBG. It would have been true until Sogo had pushed out into Darcy holding that corner. Quinn is very deep behind, and there is a pincer at play here as Fireball Ops again having a moment. Quinn rolling back the years, but Infiltrator is able to lock it down, but finds himself in a 1 versus 2. Post plant though, with Alum being very low, Infiltrator needs to guess this angle correctly. Alan is perched up on the corner, and they'll find their third.
Nicely done with the operator. This is a cool defensive setup that Nightblood have on the B site, especially so for dealing with the Gecko. They can just stack up so much of the Sentinel utility there, because over on A, the only goal of the Vice there is to just delay so the rotates can come in. Maybe you get your one pick. You have the sheer close on main, one Razorvine. But then you can just focus everything else stacking up B. And it's so difficult for Winthrop to get past multiple tripwires. There's the Razorvine, the Arc Rose there, the Cage. It's just too much. Yeah, no, listen, I already remember. I remember also I've got a tab open on my second monitor with the names, but...
Yeah, you would have had me at just saying you remembered, but a lot of that coverage over at the B side here. I mean, Razorvine actually, like, it pierces through terrain as well, which can be relevant in some cases where, like, the map geometry, is a bit more awkward. However, NBG settling in after a bit of a slow start. Operator, Odin. Oh, nasty. Okay, gonna be a trade out though. Steel Garden. Yep, popped there by Fireball Ops, and so. All of your primary weapons are jammed for 8 seconds, folks. Pretty decent amount of time, and it is going to stop Winthrop in their tracks. But eventually, they'll be able to shrug that off and go for it. Fireball Ops looking fantastic there. Able to pick moves off as they try and move in. And Atlam is now in position with this operator up on the corner. That'll gate Crash to get out of trouble. It's an untradeable kill. And Fireball Ops stops the wingman plant.
Now that Alam has the op in his hands, really taking over the game. That was a big kill from Flare, though. Try and get some control over this site. Time hasn't dwindled too much, but finding a moment to get the spike down and not get flooded is going to be really tough.
Great looks there for Alan, knowing really that Winthrop kind of had to push up
30
and
seconds left.
Get more. Trying to go for a plant here just feels a little unreasonable. Quinn eventually brings Flare down, and that'll be Nightblood stacking up these defense side of rounds. A very good sign on the map of Abyss here, but this wingman go plant approach is often rather causing them to get cut off. And hey, they bought a good amount of time, Fireball Ops, with that ultimate.
Currently, I'm wondering how Nightblood got 13-0'd on this map. The last time they played it. What happened? They also lost 12 rounds in a row on defense. What happened in that game? I mean, they're looking good so far.
Yes. Did you see how relevant that sheer wall was there, by the way? I'm pretty sure it cut at least one of the Winthrop players off of hitting that A side as well. I'm enjoying this. This is, I mean, Fireball Ops on an individual level as well is playing pretty impactfully.
This is if it ain't broke, don't fix it type setup. We still just have sheer wall on A, Arc Rose, all the other trips and mollies over on B. And then you're dealing with Alum running around with the operator, really heating up, hitting shots. This is a very potent defense right now from Nightblood.
Well, it's also tough because there's so much util on B that needs to be broken that Nasty doesn't have enough shocks to do it. Like, you probably are going to walk into some of this Sentinel util if you try and fast hit that B side, which is kind of what they want to do with the wingman setup, right? There's two razor vines and two wires over there. It's a lot to deal with.
It's
They're going to have to
trap
there,
wire, I believe.
Thank you. Trap wire. Big fan of the Wyatt River lexicon here. All right, they go onto the site. So that Sentinel util does get destroyed. Looks like the Razorvines got popped pretty early. Kess did get a freebie, just spraying down through the spot. So Winthrop again have to play it slow. And okay, Fireball Ops is also going to be here. Nasty at extreme range is able to find a share of pickoff. Kess gets debated there. Player behind the wall being pinged out. Jerk's able to punish them. Winthrop doing a lot with very little here.
That was a nasty shot from Jerk, but at this point, this is the position where defusing the spike is just a nightmare.
If they don't stick it there, Jerk having to get rid of win, but it's going to be so good pushing up. Finding quick double and NBG up to 6 rounds. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to be real with you. No idea how NBG managed to get 13 on this map. They look extremely solid. And Winthrop don't really have protocols to break this util.
No.
And they're the team that's picking this map habitually.
Yeah, this comp, these setups are also just looking really great at countering the Gecko. Yeah, at the end there, too, pretty unfortunate timing from Flare to try to get that thrash off in the 2v2. Definitely preferable to just keep the gun out. When you have the spike planted on coast, you can just swing and spam so easily. And now that's the Thrash gone as well, by the way, because it did get popped just as Sogo swung. Like, perfect timing from the Cypher.
This isn't the first time that Winthrop have had to play against the Vice comp on this map. In lowest, in the Open Qualifier, they played against Cumberland Phoenix, who did have a Vice there. It was actually a very close map in the end, so they should have at least some feel about how to play around it. This is the team that spends a lot of time on trying to get ahead of, again, merging trends in the metagame, being a team that was a fixture in Challengers this year.
And perhaps this was a bit of a pool shark-esque move from Nightblood, just throwing this map away in the YFP lockdown arena number 3, only to let someone pick it into them in Challengers so they can cook them.
Out of charges.
Yes, very nice pre-planning. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Coming to stage 3 like this, being like, hey, there's 25k on the line.
7-dimensional underwater chess.
Yeah, it's a 40 underwater mahjong going on. All right, a lot of Razor Vines. Infiltrator feeling the kiss of the Thorns right now as they're able to move up. And we will have Winthrop in a position to go for a plant here. So obviously, Cosmic Divide will be a lot of work, but Quinn's able to catch an individual. Nasty moving out, and Fireball Ops is going to be there. TP through it now. This is getting awkward. Oh, and he knows the old tricks, man.
So cool.
He's cunning.
No, Cramps he's still got it. The old man still got it. That was a really cool play. Just knowing the timing, the second the Cosmic Divide was dropping, suddenly you're setting up a crossfire on the 2 players with the teleport as it drops. That is so sick.
That is wild. I mean, yeah. I mean, Win, I think he's 30. So, you know, I think for like a Valorant pro, he's been around for a hot minute. But tell you what, got to get up early to beat this man when he's pulling tricks like that. Nice little TP through the divide. That was perfectly played. Little pins to put together. And hey, have a look at this. 7 rounds in a row for NBG. I mean, they still got everything they could ask for, plus a dimensional drift here now for Alum.
And once again, pretty much just the exact same setup from Nightblood. Economy on the line for Winthrop. They have struggled to string anything together to stave off any of these eco rounds up until this point. Oh, Kess in some danger, just trying to spray with Yoden.
I mean, that position they've taken out the last few rounds in a row. This time they're ready to spray it down. All right, Razor Vines are dissipating now. Winthrop again being forced to play slow for that first part of the round. Able to get in there at least with 4 players. Hanasuri here for Nasty. They backed right up being quite low, and they're going to let that one go now. Moves with a timing straight up mid, though. That wasn't being checked. Fireball obviously going to be there. Can he get around this util, get the drop on Move? Yes. I don't think Moves was ready for that at all.
He just jumped over the trip. He just leapt over it, hurdled it.
And again, Alum can get probably onto the spike safely here. They're just trying to check the positions of some of these Winthrop players. Jerk being tested. Fireball Ops out into the open. That is absolutely brazen. Nasty in deep trouble now at 11 HP hit with the paranoia. Man, MBG can see it all. They've got this on lock.
They are playing a fantastic game right now. Winthrop, yeah, they're able to plant the spike on coast after the Razor Vines are popped, but I think that hopefully something has clicked in their mind with that, where it's like they gotta bait this utility out. Like, overcommitting into it has just resulted in their demise on the site. Like, if they can break that utility or bait those mollies out and then get in and scale off the back of the wingman, or just get a free plant at that point, sure, but they've got to actually deal with this utility. It's unchanged in its positions, and it's been just a brick wall.
Steel Garden available here for Fireball Ops. Okay. Even with the Aldrone going, Alum knows they can take a peek. That's huge. We see Winthrop still want to try and push in a little bit here, but guess what? Yep, that's a Steel Garden. Guns jammed up here for Winthrop. And they are going to have to wait this out.
I think for the most part, they were able to dodge it, actually. So they're trying to commit straight away.
Here's the shear, though. Again, you can't back up the players through this. Moves had to go 1v2. 5 HP. Kess going to be pinged out there over towards Tower. So NBG have to respect this now. Kess and Sogo, last 2 to work with. Moves is low and fell. Oh my goodness. Yep, the spray through on towards the plant location. Still plenty of time in the round, but Winthrop definitely starting to feel this level of pressure.
remaining.
Oh, Kess was about to be ready for that flank, but Moobs hits a shot so quick. And now, with 40 seconds left, see ya. we're just going to go to B.
Zero reason to stay around here. And also, a lot of the Cypher util really only relevant if Cypher's playing from the top of that B site, not from the position that Sogo's about to come at it from.
Yeah, the can will definitely be useful, though.
I must wait a moment.
Yep, okay. Spots the player from upper. So Sogo's only seen one.
Spike planted.
Jerk is going to get this plant down. Sogo plenty healthy right now, but yeah, so in this Astra util, smoke things off for Sogo. They hope to try and find an angle around the corner of that.
Yeah, that's a good Nebula. And now the remaining two Winthrop players can double up. Sogo would have to do something crazy with the aim, something snappy to pull this off.
Moobs isn't in the best place to play off this. Oh, okay, Sogo gets onto the spike here. All right, only 8 bullets left in that Phantom. Keep an eye on that one, and yeah, they've got to go for it in the end. Nice job from Winthrop, keeping themselves out of sight mostly. There's very little to band-aid the bullet wound of 8 defensive rounds here for NBG.
That was a cool little movement, or sound bait rather, with the movement from Moves as well, just threatening, hey, I'm rotating to heaven, and then all of a sudden, Sogo has to watch both angles, doesn't know where to look, and just gets double swung. So pretty cool in the end. And honestly, Winthrop did a good job there playing around the shear over at A, though. Like, they allowed the wingman to go in, but were right there off the back of it, so they could fight off it breaking a crosshair. Multiple players swung past the wall at the same time. That was a pretty good round from them.
Absolutely. They're going to push up into this line from Jerk here. Oh, Hunter Theory also going to chime in. Elsewhere, Alum's actually able to take down Nasty, who pushed all the way up mid. Moves does well to actually get onto the B site now, and Alum has a couple of angles that they need to watch. Razorvine, though, and that's going to be a stop of that plant. Alum, though, to repost on this angle could be risky, so they flash themselves back onto it and have a tighter angle. Now Alum opts to swing around. Camera spots them out. Gateway still active here for the Yoru. Not ready for Infiltrator, though, to get in their face. That's huge. Fireball Lobster able to take the fight. Infiltrator hoping to follow them up here. So I didn't see much off the back of Thrash there as Flares looks to hold the line, but sometimes the Bulldog doesn't give you what you're looking for. And that's going to be a 9 defensive round half for NBG.
That Odin was getting a lot of value, and I feel like I haven't seen too much Odin play on this map, but there were definitely some spam angles that Kess was really abusing on defense. That was pretty cool. I wonder if that's another aspect of this map that's maybe being played out more and more behind the scenes in scrims, but we just haven't seen translate into games as much. But yeah, a lot of value to be had there actually from the Odin. That was pretty cool.
Switching sides.
Yeah, Kess honestly has been able to do quite a lot with it in general over the course of this game. See how this plays out here. This is Moove just picking up their stones and moving on to the side. Yeah, Kess, yeah, nice little corner play. I mean, and that's exactly what Flare was trying to do to them, albeit with a far inferior weapon. It's the end of the pistol here on the second half, and even a pistol round win here for Winthrop doesn't do much to alleviate their concerns after a really lackluster attack side.
We'll say as well, individually, these Nightblood players, I mean, expected it going into this, given the beatdown they gave to SAD Esports and Fireball Ops going like plus 20-something in that series. But yeah, individually, the aim for them today, it is looking good. All of them have already had some moments. Winthrop are stacked up here for a play in A main. They're trying to fight forward. Alum is just going to teleport away, meet up with the rest of the team over at B, and try and hit this site. It's being anchored, though.
Yeah, they're going to have a crack at it anyway, though. Gate crash thrown forward by Alum. Extremely aggressive. Moves really unperturbed by this level of audacity. Jerk now able to spread out over on the side. Fireball up pushes the Nebula to take a fight and does get the first kill. Jerk here just tucks, says, okay, we're in a 4v2. We'll wait for a post-plant.
Spike planted.
They're going to have a recon to get back into this site with as well, so Wingman, Dizzy, like they've got to close this out.
Yeah, Jerk here as well, deploying some stars.
Last
Okay,
player
here comes
standing.
Sogo with a bit of a swing. It's going to be Flare that brings them down. Now it's all up to Kess. 1v4. Nasty puts this one to bed. Winthrop get on the board here in the second half early. And they better hope they can convert this into a bit of a run.
Just some great anchoring from Moob's new addition to the team since we last saw Winthrop. That was a really nice flick shot onto Quinn. I mean, Nightblood had a cool idea as to how to get into the B site. Like, normally, that position Win was in, that's, you'll see the Jet doing the dash updraft up there, but you can just teleport into the dark cover. And then while he does that, there's the gate crash from Alum at the same time, but just clean shots from Moobs. especially that flick onto Win. That was pretty gorgeous.
We can come back
So
from
Winthrop,
this.
they're back in this, just a little bit.
Look, they get the start they need. It's a long climb for them. Infiltrator here will just be watching Upper. Won't quite be in time to see what Huynh is up to there. Shoulder checking it themselves.
Cover going out.
And now that dark cover thrown to Catwalk here would potentially let them move up here. So putting the Fear of God in Winthrop about a potential A hit, but just want to draw everyone's attention to the distinct lack of impressive
Yeah.
hardware on the NBG side of things, rather. And it's Infiltrator getting in there, scope weapon brought up as early as possible.
Nightblur are going to try their best to get a little bit of plant money here, but having to run through that cage with the Bulldogs trained
One
on you,
enemy remaining.
GG.
Spike
On to the
down
next
B.
one. That
Okay,
is
yeah.
a clean round. There's how much damage was done there? Like 16, I think. Something like that. 16 damage still. Pretty clean round.
Yeah, 16 is correct. Very, very limited opportunity there for NBG to have an impact. But hey, buy round is now for your attack side team.
That goes there.
Came away with 9 rounds after the defense side. Curious to see what the setups look like here. Looks like Winthrop might be grouped up for a defensive pop here.
Yeah,
This is a
it's
nice
time to do something aggro, and it looks like they will have
there.
some players to engage with in main. What is the play? Infiltrator pushing up close.
Neil Wall here, Infiltrator has to respect it. Playing right up against it. They probably saw they get deployed in the first place. Allen able to get a spray down. Jerk falling, and Infiltrator takes a ton of damage. Here behind the decoy, they're going to go for it. Looks like Nasty maybe took the bait. Kess is easily able to get in there and pick up that kill. Flair, admirable with the Bulldog, but eventually they get brought down. And as far as bonus rounds go for Winthrop, this is definitely not the most compelling sword.
Yeah, it could really feel the difference in the quality of weaponry in that engagement. A simple little setup from Winthrop. I mean, not mad at it. It's like you have Infiltrator go forward, and then when they fight him, everybody pops out of the smoke together from the Dizzy. But yeah, gun's not good enough. Move spotted out. On to the next.
Now we
Big
switch.
something
Move
nice
on.
to
We got
get
a dimensional drift already up here for Alum. Very quickly developed. NBG investing heavily in it, and of course on the attack side, it's on a flavor of its own here. Got to be a huge part of the strategy here, whether it's this round it gets used on or a future one.
Infiltrator does have the cash required for the op. Can already see him posted up towards mid on the long sight lines. So some danger for Sogo, who will, typically be the player lurking mid. Might get caught unaware with the op just being placed on the field now. But nope, fast day from Nightblood. Dimensional drift, spot everything out, get into the site off the back of it. Nice and easy.
Yep. A chance to get into security here. Okay, we're chasing Jerk down. There was a paranoid that came in off that for Huynh, but Infiltrator gets in position to set up the trade.
Spike
I'm not sure what Huynh was looking for there. Infiltrator able to bring them down, maybe expecting the operator player to be there. Either way, post-plant territory, we are in it. Flare, set up here in upper. There's a lot of defensive util outside of security that Razorvine also got to slow Winthrop down as they try and get out to help Flare, who might need a little bit of an out. Fireball Ops doesn't really know where to put themselves. And they get brought down from that pinch. Sogo's very low. Be an awkward post-plant here as Kess has to get involved. Great little mosh pit, though. Takes the low-health Cypher out of the game. And it will be Winthrop able to get back in.
Yeah, Nightblood, obviously they get the site for free because of that early dimensional drift in this half, but they really overplay their hand there. Like, at that juncture, you got the site, you have the spike down for free, you're playing double Senti, you have all of Vice's kit to play around on the spike. They had an Odin for spam as well. Like, you're so set up for the easy post-plant play. You have a trip watching your flank. They're just doing too much. Like, they just tried to do too much in that situation.
This should do. That goes there.
Still though, because NBG's first gun round, they only actually lose 1 rifle there against the bonus. They can buy up pretty quickly again. They're still in a position to be threatening. Harness Fury here for Kess. But yeah, a little bit awkward play off the dimensional drift.
Take flight.
In that previous round. We're going to digress though.
Right back to the A-Slam, this time with the Hunter's Fury, but that drone doesn't get the tag. Kess was hoping it would.
Alum gets in. Flash initially. Flare looking to try and capitalize. Oh, what is happening? Wing just TPs into the line of fire, and Flare doesn't take his finger off the bloody M1. Okay, another extremely haphazard attack side round for NBG. This time it's just guns being thrown away. And they've got nothing to work with now.
Yeah, Flair says, thanks, I guess. Thanks. I'm fully blinded. Just running with the Vandal. And you teleported right into my bullets. That's nice. That was very kind of Huynh to just offer himself up on a silver platter.
Okay. So that lead shrinks from 6 rounds to 3 as Winthrop now find themselves in pole position with everything they could really ask for. A Thrash available, also Cosmic Divide there for Jerk. Yeah, embarrassment of riches and really everything you need to lean on to close this gap even further.
I don't want to harp on this too much, but I'm trying to wrap my head around what NBG were trying to do there. Why did the gate crash and Huynh's teleport go into the same spot? There's no way that they were trying to do that. Like, was one of them supposed to? Was Huynh, like, maybe Huynh was supposed to teleport onto the box up top but missed it? I would imagine it was something like that. Yeah, just unfortunate little misplay. The smallest of mistakes and, you know, massive consequences, as is the case in the game of Valorant. It's always the tiny things that make the biggest difference, and now all of a sudden they're on an eco, and all of a sudden Winthrop have risen out from the doldrums, and they are on the verge of a comeback.
Yes.
Yeah, stringing together some really crucial rounds here. Huynh has a Bucky. It might be one of the more interesting things to observe in a round like this, but outside of that, it's going to be Alum who wants to build yet another dimensional drift. Seeing it built as quickly as a rash for a gecko on bind at the moment. Last time we saw it, it wasn't overly effective. Ended up being a trade, if you recall. Infiltrator's operator was one of the elements that NBG were trying to work around. That's still going to be a factor. Playing from upper over on the B side. All grouped up in mid. Do we do the classic walk out in mid and just try and fight them with Sheriffs like we saw from Winthrop? Time will tell.
No, it doesn't look like it. There was a recon deep mid, and again, it's like this double teleport thing, but this time it's a fake one. It's just Huynh up here with the Bucky, while the rest of the team walks up. Oh, that's awkward.
Teetering on the edge is Huynh, but he's able to avoid the mosh pit. They broke the door on upper, so that's definitely got Winthrop interested.
Yeah, the
Arcro's activation.
Yeah, trip was broken there too. Infiltrators just on the line with the op, and those kills, they're free.
Sogo's all chase.
What the hell?
And Kess. Back to back. Okay, that B side is all cracked wide open. They also have 100 Fury for the post plant here. And there might be some magic to be had in a round like this. Here goes Sogo. Over towards that B link direction. Still a cam as well. That can be thrown out here. And the neural theft, of course, of moves tries to reveal NBG's position here. Kess gets an Odin to hand now. Cosmic Divide. Hunter's Fury in a pretty awkward position. Kess opts to get out of it now, try and do some spray over towards that high ground. Ah, yes, the Bucky always has to get involved when playing inside his own dark cover. And Flair was lit. Huynh's able to pick him off now.
What is this
did I
game?
just see?
What?
Huh?
It's a children's game that we're playing. Where are my dark corridors and realistic guns, Mitch? This is a child's game. I mean,
what are you saying? We're 30, bro.
It's just, I'm actually, yeah, good point. It is just the Bucky and the dark cover with the recon, with the whole thing that's occurring. Oh, I just can't. But you know what I do respect is Kess on the Ferrari Lamborghini swing, just obliterating the Opera and Evan. That was that was a round-winning shot. That was sick.
Yeah, I feel like we had the denial in full flight for a moment there. That was impressive. He's Infiltrator, smoked out, now looking to push through it. The Tailwind active, but a little bit of spam on them. Gonna force them off that spot. Alum here, are you gonna really do this? Alum might pop out of that dimensional drift. Yep, and it goes about the way you expected it to. Nasty does well to hold things down, but Fireball Ops and Sogo eventually get in and onto the site. We're looking at a plant. Kess, remember, did use that Hunter's Fury in a previous round. Little steel garden for you. No one there to really have their weapons jammed up, though, and we're still waiting on a plant.
I know we said it's overdone and we shouldn't really be saying it anymore, but this is we're in Muddy Men Valorant territory, Mitch. The ground, muddy men right now, throwing mud everywhere.
Sogo he's very low. In the smoke, the punish moves. Now we're down to 2 players left. Fireball Ops fancies to take that challenge out in the open, and Winthrop hold their resolve It's going to be NBG again getting knocked down pretty fiercely economically.
These double teleport plays, when they work, they look really cool. And, you know, great for the highlight package. We'll save those for after the game. You know, Sierra will be pulling those for the desk, and then we'll talk about how cool they were. When they don't work, though, man, it looks like you're really stupid. It looks bad when those don't work. But when they do, it looks awesome. But man, when the timing is off, you look silly. And, yeah, not working out perfectly for Nightblood at the moment, at least on the previous round. Did on some others, but, yeah, you swing and you miss sometimes.
Upside being, NBG have 2 rifles to play with, as Kess and Win had a surplus in that last round. So again, that standard sheer wall probably really just being used as a trapwire in that situation. NBG want to just try and be aware of what's happening at the extremities as they group up for mid. Nasty went to clear it there. Doesn't see a whole lot, but Infiltrator can play against any sort of contact. Missing a shot on Kess. Remember, it's still 2 rifles at large here. Infiltrator has to respect the weaponry to some degree, and Quinn is going to find them. Infiltrator gets pushed into, though, and again, Alum just, my goodness, 0 self-preservation instinct to speak of. Eventually, they overwhelm Infiltrator's spot. But it's Kess all on their own, in no position to do anything about the weaponry that was dropped over there at top mid. In a 1v3, about to be shot in the face by Flare on this corner.
Call out Civ next time.
Yeah, Alum and Win, we are in the silly zone. They are going crazy. I mean, listen, it's a cool idea that can be brought out sometimes, but we're getting into hard force territory. The strategy is getting a little bit narrow right now. We might have to reel it back on the deep double teleports or try and fake it out a little bit more to draw attention. Because we might be taking this a little bit too far. But luckily for Nightblood, they've had such a massive lead in this game that they're still within touching distance of winning. They are so close.
I really just have to string 2 rounds together and they are good. Infiltrator! Pretty crazy spot to be there. Out of the smoke, doesn't find anything. Tailwind away. There's never anything to be had there, as again, will just be a sheer wall. Fireball Ops might look to play off that for now as 4 players from NBG pressure that B side. Nasty with the Hunter's Fury here. Now going to pop that straight away now, and that is definitely going to send NBG scurrying away. The move catches out Kess, the spike carrier no less.
Dude, you can see already there's a rotate from Winthrop. This is a great timing that Fireball Ops caught, though. Looks like he's going to be able to get a free kill onto Jerk. Oh, no. That would have cracked the round wide open. But it crumbles to pieces. That is so tragic.
Yeah, well, it could have been a really good timing. We just saw Flare, I guess, drift back. It was Jerk, I think, drift back with their crosshair in approximately the right position. And now you're down to 2 guns that we might just be saving. We might be about to fill 35 seconds of nothing here, folks, because I don't think Alum's going anywhere.
30 seconds left.
No. I'm going to go ahead and say no. Maybe if he had a gate crash, he'd be teleporting into the middle of the B site right now and trying to plant. But no teleports. Time to save. I sleep.
Yeah, not much to be writing home about here. I do think
10
it's
seconds
worth pointing
left.
out that Winthrop have now got themselves to within 1 round of NBG after a 9-3 half. I know we invoke the curve all too often here, but both teams on defense have found great success. And you know, Alum, who looked so good with an operator in hand in that first half, this time has been trying to make these harebrained plays off of dimensional drifts, trying to overwhelm people, maybe just jump scare them, but Winthrop were a little too experienced for that.
Yeah, the NBG defense was a straight up brick wall, but on attack, their game plan just feels too narrow at the moment.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
We'll see what they can do on this awkward half-buy round with a couple saved rifles. Someone was going to buy a Guardian, but they're going to forgo that. Wins back to the Bucky.
It is not good.
No, it is looking tough. Jerk has been
I just want to point out
good anchoring here.
that Thrifty Wyatt, it was Quinn with the double Bucky kill.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong.
Blair playing from up in here, and of course, backed by security is Jerk. So standard a setup here for Winthrop University. 2 players have gotten into the site. Might have been a TP forward this time from Quinn that wasn't directly into a bullet, so that's a positive for NBG.
Yeah, it was a bit safer of a teleport in with the dark covers down, and now we've got a great setup here to actually win this out. All of the Vice utility littered across the site, tripwires as well.
Dizzy though, gets Infiltrator in. They realize crucially that that was a clone. So Fiberloves gets brought down by the knife. Infiltrator has to know that someone is goofing off here by security, and a Twin emerges and immediately gets eviscerated. That's for Sogo and Kess here, and they are playing from A main in this weird post-plant setup that Moobs already has a timing on. And Winthrop, folks, after all that, have evened up the game.
I cannot believe that we've gotten to this point. But we have, and Winthrop in a situation like that, I'm impressed with the way that they're able to burst back into the site. Infiltrator leading the charge with the Blade Storm there. It's really excellent. Just creating, you know, first of all, this kill, but then, you know, getting the space with the dash updraft, is able to survey the surroundings, get all of the info as to if there are any other players in the site, and then, you know, reads, hey, it's pretty likely someone's going to be hidden in this dark cover. They've got a pincer on it towards spawn, wait for it to fade, and Win just feels like he has to try to make a play, immediately punished. That is some great gameplay from Infiltrator, who has been the star in the server right now. There's a reason we highlighted him before we got into this. He is certainly the standout for the WU team.
Yeah, I mean, huge moments with the operator on this half, but I mean, I think they were off to a 5-0 start, you know, just as things were looking pretty decent for Winthrop in that first half, and then, well, it got a little bit messy. In general, they've been kind of excellent. And I think Infiltrator was not full-time on this Winthrop roster this year, right? We definitely saw them here and there, but unless I'm forgetting, they did not play every game. I know they played every game in stage 2. Or am I just yapping?
Who, Infiltrator?
Yeah.
Yeah, they played every game in stage 2.
Okay. Yeah. What about stage 1?
I can't remember.
Okay.
But
all right.
listen, there's
Yeah.
I have consumed
what about
too much
2023?
Valorant. I cannot. There's just no way to remember all of it. But I know he played all of stage 2, and I know he's good. I know that.
There is too much Valorant. Every Platchet episode is like 4 hours now.
Not ready yet.
Like, it's crazy.
My ult's ready.
All right, a little early spam. This is what NBG obviously saved that previous round for. The dreaded Twin Bucky did not find them any success. Still, though, poised to potentially take this game away without having to go to overtime, but Winthrop, it's been all about them in this second half. Here's a dimensional drift for you. How does Adam want to play it this time? Okay, gate crashes to get quite deep early, so there's a lot of this drift to spend, and yeah, just picking out that Jet's location. Sogo has advanced notice, but that Dizzy's going to slow them up. Paranoia comes in, but Infiltrator's ahead of it, and Wind goes down, drift comes out, and Adam is actually able to get Infiltrator this time and not get instantly traded out after emerging. Much better look here for NBG, and Wyatt, what a time to come alive.
Yeah, who's trying to shut things down, though? That was a nice little jiggle peek. NBG, they've got to relax, group up, and play together at this point. Don't allow any 1v1s to occur needlessly.
All right. Oops sees nothing here. It's full post-plant positioning with an Odin to spam down through any potential smokes or nebulae as it were. And they're all set. All right. We're going to have to go for it here. Cyber Cage is throwing up, but it's not going to protect moves from all of this util. Shock darts coming on in, the recon to ping them out. Jerk trying to shut down any chance for NBG in this round, but with moves now missing, Jerk has no choice but to straight up go for it. Cosmic Divide, they're going to have to dive through it, and NBG make the correct choice. They lose Alum. They get the round.
They finally hit all of the right timings as a team off the back of the Yoru play. That Dimensional Drift got a lot of value going through Heaven, specifically as well, just sort of the disarray it caused. You could see Nasi was like, okay, I got to get the hell out of here. Was trying to jump back in the smoke, but then gets off the angle, gets exposed, shot in the side from the Nightblood players coming from B main. You know, able to ping the rest out. That was nicely done. The timings there were good. They just have to do it but one more time, which it's been tough for them so far. It has been.
And again now with, you know, like a pretty broken buy. That previous round, they only end up taking one gun out of. So we've got some limited armies here. Weaponry by and large, though, it's okay. Win again with a shotgun.
Cage trigger.
Early here, Paranoia. Rather, dark cover up to the upper side moves, trying to hope for a crosshair correction, but can only get the one. Razorvine out here over on the side. Hunter's Fury also being deployed, but Fireball Ops is completely unbothered. Beautifully done. Kess doesn't have to use that ultimate the previous round, and NBG here looking to shut the game down after trailing for so much of this second half. It's up to Infiltrator. 1 versus 4. Basically, in Valorant terms, impossible. And we kind of alluded to it. All NBG had to do was string a couple of rounds together and get close. But that timing from Infiltrator's big now. A potential defuse is on the table. Kess steps up. Haven't quite got it to half yet. Tailwind active, but now about to expire. Infiltrator takes damage and can't get any done themselves. In a 1v2 now, that Shock Dart would have claimed them if they were one step too far forward. But NBG gets the map done. After a brutal second half, they had 11 rounds and all they had to do was land the plane.
That was one of the fakest fake comebacks you'll ever see. At the end of the day, Nightblood, they were getting crazy with their attack side strats, really hard forcing all of that double teleport stuff. And then at the very end, they kind of reined it back in. They tightened up the timings to end the game. And on the last one, it was actually Winthrop getting caught out, trying to go for some aggression, with Nasi being punished at the beginning of that round, walking all the way down mid. So at the end of the day, they stabilized in the final hour. And you still have to go back and reflect on their defense, which was phenomenal. I mean, they won the game because they had such an insurmountable lead at the end of the day that they got from that first half that it just always felt inevitable that they would close it out, and they did. They've stolen away Winthrop's map pick on a map where they got 13-0'd the last time they played it. So that's crazy.
And they really wanted to play Ascent. They're going to have that up next in this series. You've got to be feeling pretty good about it. Not to say that Winthrop are any slouches on that map, though. They're undefeated on Ascent in Challengers Stage 3 so far. We'll talk about that when we get back after the break. 1-0 here to NBG as Winthrop fail to complete the comeback. Stick around. We'll be back after this.